It's Mindset Monday, and welcome to the Bad Influence Podcast with yours truly, Jordan Banderas. Listen to what I must tell you today because this can help you understand why your job is making you small in life. The exact muscle you use to give less at work is the same muscle running everything else in your life. You believe something about your job you've never actually questioned. You believe that giving less there doesn't cost you anything anywhere else. You believe work is one box and the rest of your life is a completely separate box. Say it out loud. It's just a job. I give what I have to give it, and I save the real me for everything else. Say it. Now, that sounds reasonable, right? Well, guess what? It's not reasonable. It's the biggest lie you've been telling yourself on repeat 5 days a week for years. Think about that. Here's what's actually true. You don't have two different levels of effort, one for work, one for life. You have one setting, and you've been practicing it every single day at your job. Think about what your actual day looks like. Yeah, just think about that. You show up, you do enough to not get in trouble, you watch the clock, you save the real energy for later. But that's not a job strategy, that's a rehearsal. And you've been rehearsing good enough so many times. It's not something you do at work anymore, it's who you are everywhere. Think about the last time you gave something outside of work your full, actual effort. Not the performance of trying, the real thing. Can you remember what that felt like? Because the same person who clocks in and gives 60% is the same person who shows up to their goals and gives 60% too. The same person who waits for 5 o'clock is the same person waiting for motivation to show up before they start anything that matters. You know I'm right. And the same person who does the minimum to avoid getting fired is the same person doing the minimum to avoid disappointing themselves. Just enough to not feel guilty, never enough to actually change anything. That's not two different people. No, it is not. That's one person running one setting in every room they walk into. And here's what should actually scare you, because it should scare you. You didn't decide to live at 60%. No, you didn't. You practiced it so long, you stopped noticing it was a choice at all. Because you made that choice. It just started to feel like normal, like pace, like being realistic. But it is not realistic. It's a habit built one clock in shift at a time, and it followed you home a long time ago. Yes, it did. It followed you into your health, into your relationships, into the goals you keep saying you'll commit to eventually. You've been eventually your whole life the same way you've been clocking in your whole career. Yes, you have. And guess what? Nobody had to force that on you. Nobody did. You built it yourself, one unremarkable Tuesday at a time. And today, you find out how much of your actual life has been running on the exact setting you learned to survive a job you don't even love. Because you don't love your job, most likely. This didn't start with you deciding to be lazy. And I want to make that clear. It started with a math problem nobody ever spelled out. But everyone in every job eventually solves for themselves. Give 60%, get paid. Give 100%, get paid the exact same amount. And at some point, you did that math. Maybe not consciously, but your body did it for you. And once you saw that math, you couldn't unsee it. No, you couldn't. Because it's not a lie one boss told you. It's a rule the entire system runs on. Show up, do enough, don't get fired, don't get praised much either. Just don't get fired. That's the deal in almost every job you've ever had. Nobody sat you down and explained this system on your first day. No, they didn't. You learned it by watching. You watch the person next to you break their back for a project and get the same raise as the person who barely showed up. Oh, that happens more often than not. And you also watch somebody get the promotion because they said the right things in a meeting, not because they actually did the most work. You watch effort and reward stop lining up right in front of you over and over until you finally stop expecting them to. And here's the part that made it worse. You watch somebody give everything they had, burn themselves out completely, and the company just replaced them anyway once they broke. I've seen that so many times. So the lesson landed hard. Caring too much just means you're the one who gets hurt. Hold back, protect yourself, give exactly what's required, and nothing that could be used against you or taken for granted. That's not a character flaw. That's a smart response to a system that punishes full effort almost as often as it rewards it. You built this pattern because it worked. Oh, yes, it did. It kept you from getting burned out for nothing. It kept you from getting taken advantage of. But here's where it stops being understandable and starts being your responsibility. That system taught you a rule for one specific environment, a job that doesn't reward extra effort. And you took that rule and let it run everywhere else too. Yes, it did. Your health doesn't work like your paycheck. It actually responds to full effort. Your relationships don't work like a performance review. They actually notice the difference between 60% and everything you've got. Your own goals. Yes, those goals. The ones that are actually yours, not assigned to you by somebody else, don't punish you for trying hard the way a thankless job might. But you never went back and checked that. You just kept running the job rule everywhere on autopilot. Think about it. Just think about it. You hold back at the gym the same way you hold back at your desk. You hold back with the people you love, giving just enough attention to keep things functioning, saving anything extra for a day that never comes. You hold back on the goal you say matters most to you, treating your own dream like a job that doesn't pay overtime. Oh, how many of you have done that? I know I used to do this a lot. But that's the real cause of learning this rule too well. It stopped being a job survival skill. It became how you move through everything. Yes, that's exactly what happened. And here's what you have to understand about where this actually came from. Whoever built the system that taught you this, the company, the structure of modern work, wasn't thinking about your life outside those walls. No, it was not. They were thinking about output and margins and getting the most for the least. Just make me look good. That's all they care, huh? That system wasn't designed to teach you how to live. No, but you learn from it anyway, because it's where you spend most of your waking hours, and patterns don't stay contained to where they're learned. No, they are not. But here's the thing. That's not your fault. No, it is not. But it is your problem now, because you're the only one who can see it clearly enough to change it. Right now, somewhere in you, There's a rule that was built for a place that doesn't care about you. And that rule has been quietly running your actual life. The one that's supposed to be yours. As if it works the same way. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but it doesn't. Your marriage isn't going to fire you for trying too hard. Your health isn't going to give the slacker the same result as the person who actually shows up. Your own dream isn't handing out participation pay for the version of you that holds back before you even start. No, it does not. So every time you bring the job rule into a room where it doesn't belong, you're not protecting yourself anymore. No, you are not. You're just sabotaging the one place where full effort will have actually paid off. Think about the last goal you truly wanted and watch what you did with it. Did you go all in? Did you? Or did you do the version of trying that wouldn't cost you too much if it didn't work out? The same holding back you do on a Tuesday at your desk. That's the tell. Yeah, that's the tell. Because you know how to go all in. You've just been saving it for somewhere that will never actually ask you to. The job taught you the rule. That's fine. That is totally fine. But you're the one who's been applying it everywhere since. Long after anyone required it of you. That rule doesn't know your marriage. It doesn't know your health. It doesn't know the dream you keep saying matters to you more than anything. It's just been running the same, holding back everywhere. Yes, it has. Without ever checking whether this specific room actually punishes full effort the way the job did. Notice your legs right now. Not later, right now. How heavy do they feel at the idea of actually going all in on something today? Not busy, not tired in the normal sense, heavy. Like they're already bracing against effort before you've even started. That's not laziness. That's a sitting in your body, waiting to be triggered the second something asks for more than the minimum. Think about the last time you had a real chance to go all in on something that mattered. Your legs got heavy before your mind even caught up. And you know this is true. Because that's your body doing the same math it learned at work. Full effort might not pay off. Protect yourself. Hold back. So you feel it as a drag, a weight, like wading through wet concrete every time something asks for real effort instead of maintenance. And here's what's strange about it, because there's something strange about this. The heaviness doesn't show up when you're doing the minimum. No. Coasting feels light, automatic. It feels easy. It's only the real thing, the actual effort, that makes your legs feel like they're fighting you the whole way there. That's backwards from how it's supposed to work. The thing that will actually change your life should feel lighter to move toward, not heavier. But your body's been trained the other way. Oh, yes, it has. Effort equals risk. Risk equals weight. So you sit there, gym clothes on, and your legs won't get you off the couch. You sit there, the real conversation you need to have with your partner sitting right in front of you, and your legs won't carry you into the room to have it. You sit there, the actual goal you say matters most, sitting untouched, and your legs won't move toward the one task that will move it forward. Not because you don't want it, because you do want it. The reason this happens is because your body has learned that showing up fully is expensive and coasting is free. Yes, it is free. Think about how many mornings you've woken up with a plan to finally go all in. And by afternoon, your legs have talked you back into the version that costs less. That's not weakness, okay? And I want you to understand that. That's a trained response, running exactly the way it was built to run. And here's what it's actually costing you. Every single day you let it win, because it's costing you something. Your body forgets what real movement feels like. Yes, it does. Not the movement of getting through a day. No. The movement of actually going somewhere. You've gotten so used to heavy legs that light legs, the feeling of moving towards something you actually want, has started to feel foreign, almost uncomfortable. Some part of you doesn't trust the feeling anymore. No, it doesn't. Because the last few times you felt light and excited about something, you eventually pulled back anyway. And the lightness just felt like it was setting you up for a letdown. So now, even the good feeling gets treated like a threat. And you know how that feels. Because your body braces against hope the same way it braces against effort. That's the real weight you're carrying, not just tired legs. A whole system that's forgotten how to move towards something without flinching first. And it shows up in more than just your legs. Your shoulders carry some of it. Slouch. The second something asks more of you than coasting requires. Your breath carries some of it as well. Shallow. The moment you consider actually finishing the thing you've been half doing for months. But your legs carry the most of it. Because legs are for moving towards something. And you've trained yours to hesitate at the exact moment movement matters most. Yes, you have. Think about how many rooms you've stood at the edge of. A gym, a hard conversation, the first real step on the goal you keep saying is important, and felt that exact heaviness stop you cold. That's not random. That's the jobs rule. Fully installed, running in a body that doesn't know the difference between a paycheck job and your actual life anymore. And here's the part that should land the hardest. Every time you let the heaviness win, it gets a little heavier the next time. Not because the task got harder, because your body just filed away one more piece of proof that backing off was the right call. So, the pattern doesn't fade with time. It gets heavier with repetition, one heavy-legged retreat at a time. And you've been mistaking that heaviness for a signal to stop. Oh, yes, you have. But guess what? It's not a signal to stop. No, it is not. It's the exact moment the old rule is trying to protect you from something that isn't actually threatening you anymore. Your legs don't know the difference between a job that punishes full effort and a life that's been waiting on you to finally give it. They just know heavy, and they just know light. And right now, they've been trained to trust the wrong one. That heaviness is not who you are. No, it is not. It's a setting, and settings can be changed. So stop looking at your legs and start looking at what the heaviness has been protecting you from finding out. Because the heaviness was never really about energy. It's about a question you've been avoiding your whole adult life. Here's the truth hiding under all that weight. Some part of you likes the heaviness. Yes, Some part of you does like it. Not because it feels good, because it comes with an excuse built in. As long as your legs are heavy, you never have to find out what happens if you actually go all in and it still doesn't work. That's the shadow, not the coasting itself, the relief hiding inside the coasting, the quiet comfort of never actually being tested. Because if you gave your real effort, full, undivided, not holding back, and it still fell short, you'd have to face something scarier than failure. You'd have to face the idea that this really is your ceiling. Yes, that's exactly what happens. So instead, you protect the ceiling by never actually pushing against it. You keep one hand on the brake at all times, and you call it being realistic. It's not realistic, it's a shield built to protect you from ever finding your own limit for real. So sit with that for a second. Yeah, just sit with it. If you never go all in, you get to keep the story alive forever. The one where you could have done more if you really wanted to. That story is comfortable. It doesn't cost you anything, except it's costing you everything. Because a person who's always holding back never actually finds out who they are underneath it. And here's what's actually happening while you protect yourself from that answer. Because something happens. The gap between the life you say you want and the life you're actually building gets a little wider every single day you hold back. Not loud, wide, quiet enough that you still function completely fine. Wide enough that you feel it every time you lie awake wondering why nothing's changing. That's what the heaviness has been keeping score of the whole time. The gap growing every single day. And here's who you're becoming while it grows. Someone who's excellent at showing up and terrible at actually finishing. Someone people describe as capable, talented, full of potential. And privately, someone nobody's built a real prediction about anymore. That word should land harder than the others. Potential. Because potential isn't a compliment after a certain age. It's a polite way of saying you still haven't proven anything yet. And the people around you have noticed. Not with accusations, with quiet adjustments. Your partner has stopped bringing up the big plans you used to talk about together because they've learned. Yes, they've learned. The plans don't usually go anywhere past the excitement of talking about them. Your friends, those friends that love you, stop asking how the goal is going because they already know the answer is going to be some version of still working on it. Your kids, if you have them, are watching how you handle the things that actually matter to you. And they're learning the lesson before you've said a single word about it. They're learning that wanting something and actually finishing it are two completely different categories. And that's just how life goes. That's the part that should actually keep you up at night. Not that you're coasting. That your coasting is quietly teaching someone else that coasting is normal. Now, hold that next to what you actually want out of this one life. You didn't get excited about your dreams so you could hold back on them forever. You got excited about them because some part of you believed you were capable of something real. And here's the mirror. Oh yeah, here's the mirror. So look at it straight. Look at it straight. Yes. If you keep holding back on the thing that actually matters, one day You're going to run out of time to find out what you were actually capable of. Not metaphorically, literally. Years don't wait for you to finally feel ready. And I want you to understand that. And the version of you that could have found out, the one who went all in on the marriage, the health, the dream, that version doesn't get to try again once the window closes. This is not a moment you want to be finding out at the very end, that you spend your whole life protecting a ceiling instead of testing it. That's the real risk hiding behind all your caution. Not that you'll fail if you go all in, that you'll never know if you will have, because you never actually let yourself try. Because trying halfway doesn't just fail to move you forward. It actively protects the lie that you will have succeeded if you really wanted to. A lie you'll never have to test and never have to lose. Here's what staying exactly like this actually steals from you, because it does steal something from you. Not just your heavy legs, not just another year of coasting. It steals the one thing your whole life has been quietly building toward the entire time. An honest answer. Yes, an honest answer about what you're actually made of. Because right now, you don't know. Not for real. You've protected yourself from ever finding out. And you know this is true. And a life is spent protecting an unanswered question isn't safety. It's just a slower way of never getting the answer at all. Think about what that means for the years already behind you. Goals start with real excitement and quietly scale back the second they ask for more than convenient effort. Looks fine from the outside, looks like someone who's busy, right? Who's trying, right? Someone who's got a lot going on. But underneath it, the actual answer to who you really are has been sitting untested year after year while you call the coasting being realistic. That's the cause. Not a dramatic collapse, just a slow, quiet postponement of the one truth that actually matters. And it doesn't announce itself. No, it does not. It just shows up, fully formed, the day you look back and realize you spent your whole life rehearsing effort instead of actually spending it. And that could happen when you're 80 or 90. And that's not a future risk. That's exactly where you're already headed, and you know it. And here's the part of the shadow that's easy to miss. It's not just costing you the answer. No, it's also costing the people who needed to see you actually go for something all the way at least once. Your kid needed to see it. Your partner needed to see it. The version of you that's still watching, waiting to see if you'll finally prove the old rule wrong, needed to see it most of all. And every time you hold back instead, you're teaching all of them, yes, all of them, the same lesson the job taught you. Protect yourself. Give enough. Never risk the real thing. That's the part that should actually land the hardest. Not that you're holding back. That you're holding back is quietly becoming someone else's blueprint as well. The people who love you don't need you to succeed at everything. No, they don't. They need to see you actually try completely, at least once, so they know it's possible to do that and survive it. Right now, what they're watching instead is someone protecting a question instead of answering it. You already know the scaled back version isn't who you actually are. Yes, you already know. You've known it every time your legs went heavy right before the moment that mattered most. And how many times has that happened to you? You've known it every time you called coasting being smart and felt something in you go quiet in protest. And you can keep calling that self-protection. Yes, you can. Or you can finally admit the only thing standing between you and the answer was never the risk of failing. It was the risk of finding out you never even tried. Nobody else has been protecting that ceiling for you. No. You built it, you maintained it, and you're the only one who can finally walk into it and find out if it was even real. So here's where you stop protecting the ceiling and start testing it. Everything you just heard wasn't meant to shame you. And I want you to understand that. You had to see exactly what the holding back was protecting you from before you could ever choose to walk past it. And now, you have. Yes, you have. So let's talk about what's actually on the other side of the full effort. Not guaranteed success, something more honest than that. An actual answer. That's the whole thing you've been missing. Yes, you've been missing this. Not a win, a real answer about what you're actually capable of instead of a protected guess. Because you don't want to keep that guess protected. So here's your new standard. Full effort was never about guaranteeing the outcome. Full effort is how you finally find out the truth instead of managing the excuse. That's the shift right there. You've been waiting for certainty before you commit completely. Certainty was never coming. It's not available before you try. It only shows up after. So the new rule is simple. You go all in first and you find out what you're made of second. That's going to feel unfamiliar. Oh, believe me, I know this. Because it's supposed to. Yes, it's supposed to. Your legs have been trained to brace at exactly the moment this asks you to move toward it instead. Here's what practicing this actually looks like. Small, not a total life overhaul overnight. Pick one place this week where you've been holding back and give it everything. Yes, everything. Just once. Not forever. Once. The gym, the project, the conversation you've been having in half measures. Pick one and go all the way in. Yes, just go all the way in. Notice how heavy your legs get right before you do it. Let them be heavy. Yeah, let them be heavy, but move anyway. That's the whole practice. Not fixing the feeling, moving through it. Here's the win version of this, so you know what you're actually aiming at. The win isn't some perfect outcome where everything you touch suddenly succeeds. No, that's not what the win is. The win is smaller than that and realer. The win is the first time you go all in on something and finally get a real answer. Win or lose. Instead of the protected guess you've been living on for years. Even if it doesn't work out, even if you go all in and it still falls short, that's still the win. Because now you know. Real evidence about this attempt. Not the old story about what you could have done if you'd really tried. That's the win, not the outcome. The truth. Here's the part I'm not going to skip because it usually gets left out. This isn't going to go perfectly. No, it is not. Some days you're going to hold back anyway. Out of pure habit, the second something gets hard. Some days you'll go all in and it won't work. And the old boys will tell you that proves you should have protected yourself after all. That's not proof of anything. That's the old rule. Trying to win an argument, it's been losing since you started this. The goal was never zero setbacks. The goal is that you keep going back to full effort, even on the days the outcome didn't reward it. Because full effort was never a bet on the outcome. It was always a bet on finally knowing. This is why I keep making this show. Because this right here, you sitting with this, feeling exactly how heavy your legs have gotten at the idea of trying for real, this is the whole reason the Bad Influence podcast exists. Not to make you feel good for 20 minutes and send you back to coasting. No. To put a mirror in front of you that you can talk your way out of. And if you skip next Monday, you go back to holding back alone, telling yourself it's just being realistic. If you're here, you don't have to figure this out alone. No, you don't. So subscribe. Not for me, for the version of you that's been protecting a ceiling for years, wondering if this is the week you finally tested. Because that version has been waiting a long time, and waiting doesn't answer the question. Only trying does. Picture this a year from now. Yes, a year from today. Your legs still get heavy sometimes. The old setting doesn't disappear completely. It just stops running the whole show. But you catch it faster now. You feel the weight and you move anyway, instead of letting the weight decide for you. You've gone all in on something real by now. Yes, maybe it worked. Maybe it didn't completely. Either way, you know something you didn't know before. That's not luck. That's the practice you started tonight. And the coasting that used to feel safe, it doesn't feel safe anymore. It feels like exactly what it always was. A slow way of avoiding the truth. Here's the truth underneath everything I've told you today. Because there's a lot of truth underneath this. Your job never had the right to teach you how to live. It only had the right to teach you how to survive a place that doesn't reward full effort. And somewhere along the way, you let that lesson run everywhere else too, without ever checking if it belonged there. It doesn't belong in your health. Let me be clear. It doesn't belong in your marriage. No, it does not. It doesn't belong anywhere near the one dream you keep saying actually matters to you. It doesn't belong anywhere near those things. So tonight, this is your move, plain and simple. Pick the one place you've been holding back the longest. Give it everything. Yes, give it everything. Even though there's no guarantee it pays off today. Let your legs be heavy. Move anyway. That's what showing up actually means. Not performing effort and calling it enough. Giving the real thing and finally finding out what it does. You might find out you're capable of more than you've let yourself believe in years. Oh, that feeling is amazing. Or you might find out exactly where the real work still is. Either way, you'll know something true instead of protecting something comfortable. Because protecting something comfortable costs you a lot. And because the life that actually matters was never built by the version of you that holds back to stay safe. It was built by the one willing to go all the way in and find out. Your legs haven't carried that weight long enough. Oh yes, they have. So stop clocking in your own life. Yes, stop clocking in on your own life. Give it everything. It's starting now, not once you feel ready. Find out what you were always capable of. And remember, the choice is yours.